Hi there, I'm Don Klein, and this is my wife, Perry Klein. I have some very important issues to discuss with you today in this 12-part series. This is pretty serious stuff, and it needs our full attention. I'm sure you will see why. The first segment is about 9 minutes long, but the rest are only 2 or 3 minutes each. Unfortunately, I found my voice doesn't hold up if I talk very long, so I've asked Perry if she would be willing to fill in for me. She has very graciously agreed, so I will turn it over to her. Thank you for joining us.
Someone asked Don recently why he's not in favor of an Article 5 Constitutional Convention, also known as CONCON. They claim it is needed to pass amendments to the Constitution to require government to adhere to the U.S. Constitution, to pass the Balanced Budget Act, or amendment, and impose other tighter controls on federal government. Well, there's several reasons why Don is opposed to a CONCON. First of all, the federal government is already required to adhere to the U.S. Constitution by Article 6, Clause 2, where it is said in pertinent part, "This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof shall be the supreme law of the land, and judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding." Also by Article 6, Clause 3, the senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office of public trust under the United States. If the federal government is not obeying the existing law, and it isn't, why does anyone think it will obey any new law created by CONCON? Secondly, a balanced budget sounds good in principle, but the reality is that every country that has ever required a balanced budget by law has simply taken its excess spending off the budget, where no one could see it. This does not reduce corruption, it exacerbates it, making it rampant beyond any power to contain it. Thirdly, a constitutional convention would be a great opportunity for the communist insurgency infesting our nation to manufacture amendments depriving us of our fundamental rights currently, by law, beyond the reach of government, like our right to keep and bear arms, for example. Our rights would be made into revocable, government-issued permissions, like they are in every other country. The proponents of a CONCON claim state laws would prohibit the delegates from addressing anything not authorized to be addressed. But that means nothing. The delegates to the original Constitutional Convention were mandated to address deficiencies of the Articles of Confederation, not write a new Constitution. That's why the delegates had to take to the Independent Journal and other newspapers to advocate for for ratification of the new Constitution, because they were not delegated the authority to create it, and they created it anyway. The articles published in the Independent Journal and other media were eventually compiled into a document titled the Federalist Papers, a standard legal reference for learning what the founders had in mind when they wrote our Constitution. Basically, CONCON would open up our nation to the destruction of every fundamental principle of liberty under the rule of law. Our nation was founded to preserve and protect and restore the political principle that kings govern by the divine right of kings to government. That ran dirt-poor peasants and vassals and slaves into the ground for 25 centuries before our nation was founded. Derivative praise CONCON is very appropriate because it's possibly the biggest con job ever to be presented to our nation for consideration, right after the illegal 16th Amendment, the illegal 17th Amendment, and the illegal Federal Reserve Act, the sum of which restored the former British colonies to the control of the international bankers of the City of London once again. Thanks for your time.